Welcome back to the Lovin Dubai show. Today's guest is Asma Sami from Love is Blind Habibi. What really happened with Khatab, why they left and rejoined the show, and how real was the drama that unfolded at the reunion? Let's find out. Welcome to the show, Asma.
Hi guys, thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
We're so excited to have you on.
We are actually. I'm very excited to have you. So my first question is, why did you decide to join the experiment?
So initially, obviously, we didn't know when we were being casted for the show, we didn't know that this was Love is Blind. So we were, or for me, I was very sort of curious to understand what type of experiment is it? How would it go? It was more about curiosity for me rather than anything else. Was I sure that I would find someone? I wasn't really sure, to be honest. But I was so curious to get in through the experiment, and I think most of us didn't know how would it go, like what would the experience be, etc. So yeah.
You know, the show was so interesting because it brings up a lot of cultural questions, and obviously later on in the show, you know, we had to get permission from your family before, but we'll get to that. But my question is, when you realized what the show was and the premise of the show, what was your family's level of support at that point?
Honestly, my family were super supportive. In the beginning, they didn't understand what is the concept. So they don't understand reality TV. They don't watch it. It's not something that they are acquainted with, if I may say. But then when I told them that I want to be part of it, they were like, okay, we think you're an adult. You know enough what to do. We trust you. Just don't do anything stupid, be good, and just go for it. So so they were super supportive, but obviously they didn't understand the concept.
They didn't understand that a husband was going to come along. Fair enough.
Yeah, and that's why they were like, after I got that proposal from Khatab in the pods, when I called my parents afterwards, they were like, "What do you mean you got proposed to? Are you like officially engaged?" I was like, "I don't know either. Am I officially engaged?" It was so confusing because obviously going through the experience and living it is completely different than what you see it from the outside, right? So it gets a little bit confusing that from the pods you get engaged, you get to see someone, and then all of that happens in like a span of like, I don't know, 30 days. It's quite insane. And for your mind to process it, it takes some time. At least for me, this is what happened.
The show producers are so cheeky, right? Because they don't tell you that you're going on to this like life journey.
Yeah, and then it's like...
And then it unfolds.
Yeah.
That is like really shocking. But we had Shafiq here on the show. Yeah. And it's like our mini reunion that we're doing.
This is the whole Love is Blind reunion show on the Lovin Dubai
It's like a mini Love is Blind Habibi reunion. And he said that everyone initially went there for exposure. How much do you agree with that? Like, would you say that you went for exposure on social media? Honestly, or do you think maybe others as well went for exposure?
I don't know about others, but I will speak for myself. For myself, first off, I didn't know that it's going to be Love is Blind. Second of anything, I was actually anxious about the whole thing coming out because initially I thought the reaction would be, oh, she's too desperate to go get a husband on a show, stuff like that. You know, coming from the Arab region, how would that be perceived? This is the first season, etc. So it was more, I was more like scared about the perception rather than anything else, even though this didn't stop me from the fact that I really wanted to go through it and experience it all. You know what I mean? I didn't let the fact that how would this reflect on me, or people would call me out or say about me in the future to stop me from taking the experiment. But yeah, on the other side, for me at least, this is what I thought. I thought maybe people would see it like that. But then I was surprised. People actually lived the journey with us, understood our characters, and there were so many comments and like DMs that I got afterwards, and people tell you how they perceive the stories, and oh my God, people see it like for what it is. And I was surprised, and I was actually very happy that this came through like that.
Well, speaking of people's perceptions, you know, as Farah said, we've had a lot of the cast on the show, and you know, we've talked about like the edits because it's a journey, and you know, millions of hours of all of your time, but we only see an hour of the pods, for example. And I wonder, what was your initial reaction to seeing how you were perceived on the show? Let's not talk about the reunion, but like that first set of series.
Were
the edits fair?
Yeah. No, I mean, in some parts they weren't, and some other parts, there were so many things that were taken out that could have given people more context. But then, I think in the history of Love is Blind, every single cast member comes out and talks about the edits. So it's something that is really known, and I think it is part of the whole experience and experiment, is for it to come out in a way that adds a little bit of touch of drama here, a little bit of story there, because obviously, as you know, guys, this is a reality TV and it's not scripted. So I think this is where they need to add some spices to make it catchy for the audience. Obviously, it reflects on us as actual cast members and people that walk this earth, and because you're not going on this show as Samantha or as Abir, you're going on it's me, you know. So in the beginning, I was really, really, really angry.
By which part, for example?
The part of where they showed that I was a gold digger. This part was really, I would say, taken completely out of context. And I know that Khattab came here and spoke about this. This was completely edited to look like this. And this is where I felt like it was unfair. But then throughout, I think it came out okay. And then some parts also were taken out, but at least you could see my character and you could see the full story. Not necessarily the total one, but then you could see bits and pieces of the story that makes sense to you. You know what I mean? And it made sense to me, and I was like, okay, this is what they're trying to sell, or like trying to portray.
True, you're so right. I feel like it was. It did make it look like that you were there for the businesses, but then later on in the show. They evolved, and like that the real feelings were seen for sure.
And as well, by the way, like Khattab explained it very properly, how every woman should be looking out for the I would say financial independence that with the man that she's talking to. But I want to ask, why did you leave after initially saying yes?
So parts of the edits not being fair is that it was shown that I was the one who left. But if you guys go back to the episodes and you see after the reveal, I say, oh, I'm going to think about it. The earrings from that piece or that confession is completely different from my earrings of the reveal. So it was taken out from something else and put into it. So it's a clear edit, because this is not what happened. What happened in reality is that after I got so anxious during the reveal, they sort of told us, you're not a match, and they kicked us out.
Oh.
This is the actual story, guys.
That is some tea.
Yeah, I'm giving you the tea.
How does that even work?
They didn't think we're a match, just like other couples that matched during the pods. And then they kicked us out. And then at that time, I even mentioned that in the reunion, I wanted to speak with Khattab. I didn't care. I was like, I don't care. I really want to talk to him, and I want to connect with him, and I want to explain to him what happens in the reveal, etc. So we met, we connected further, and then when they knew that we connected and we were speaking, they got us back.
Okay.
So, and this is when we come back to the retreat, like a day or two later.
Wow.
Yeah. And this is why I was really angry in the beginning, because the way the whole thing was portrayed, specifically from the pods period up until we came back to the retreat, it was not, most of it was, you know, cut it out here and there to make it look like that.
So there were other couples that were successful that didn't make it the whole way?
Oh, yeah. There were some couples that they thought that were not a good match, so they left.
Like who?
I don't know if I can say that. I don't know. Yeah, but there were.
They don't show those couples the journey, because you know at the beginning of the show there's all these people. Anyway, since the show aired, so many topics have come out that have like brought debate themselves. So like show aside, so one of them specifically is 50-50 relationship dating. What are your thoughts on that?
For me, I look at it as a phases period. So it's not a one-size-fits-all situation. So if you're someone that is in that age bracket where you're building your life, you're trying to grow, the 50-50 works perfectly well, because we're both trying to grow, and at the same time, we want to be together. So it depends at which phase that you're at. And if you're someone who's established, this is where two adults come in and sort of discuss the roles and responsibilities. And at the end of the day, it's not a one size fits all. It depends on what are your objectives in lives? How you want your relationship to look like? What do you want out of this relationship? And this is how you split the roles and responsibilities. Finances is only one element of a relationship. There are so many layers and things into a relationship that people forget or tend to not to focus on, which I think it's really important to look at these different pillars. What makes your relationship the way it is? Of course, finance is a very important part, but how does that look like? This is a discussion between the two and depends on what phase they are at.
Well, Mido, many believe that Mido was your number one choice. Do you think that you should have given Mido a chance?
Mido, honestly, is a great guy. And we connected based on familiarity. We're both Egyptians. We have the same sense of humor. But one of the things that I think I wasn't able to get to is to get into a deeper layer with Mido. And for me to get into the next step, I wouldn't have been able to do it without doing that part where I understand that person fully. We speak about so many things. I wasn't able to get that out of him. So I felt like maybe this is not the right match. And I was ready initially to leave if I didn't find that, if I wasn't able to understand the person, because honestly, it's a big thing, right? It's a huge step in your life. Outside of anything, the fact that you are getting to know someone in that short period, you want to know as much as possible. You want to start, you take notes, because we had these notebooks, you take these notes, you go back to your room, you start thinking and reflecting and seeing, does this align with me as a person? Do I really want to be in a relationship like that, etc.? So there are so many elements into it that you think about. So I wasn't able to get into that deeper layer with him. It was more about us talking about things that are familiar, joking, etc. And this is not something that I was able to go on with. But I'm so happy we're still in contact. He's a great person. And we remained friends. And I think this is also a great sort of type of relationship that you can keep, you know?
Well, interesting you say that, because I want to ask, can guys and girls be friends? Because in the show, the wall is up and you can't see them. So maybe it was hard to deepen that level. But now you've come out, the wall is gone, you're friends. Is it possible for guys and girls to have a truly platonic relationship?
I mean, yeah. If you're both mature, you both sort of admire and respect that concept, why not? I don't see that this is something. How many friends do you guys have that you have a pure, good relationship and you would feel like, okay, that's a really good friend that I wouldn't want to lose at any point. Maybe the sensitivities or people thinking that because you're in a relationship or you were speaking or you were dating at one point, you cannot be friends afterwards. Obviously, this all depends on you and how open and willing are you for you to keep that friend or that person close if you really admire and love that person and don't want to sort of lose them. This is my view.
Mido bestie?
Well, since Mido is your friend, do you think that Mido's actions during the reunion were justified?
I don't want to go into that. I don't want to get into that because there were so many things into it, and I don't think I'm in a place to speak about it. It's not my story to talk about.
Fair enough. The reunion specifically overall, there was drama, there was tea. We heard someone on the show, one of the cast members of the show said that, people met lots of tea and drama on the show, on the reunion. And our question to you is, could it have been handled better by the production? Because it did feel like there was some bullying going on.
100%. It could have been handled better on so many levels. But then again, it's that drama that sells, which is sad because it impacts people in reality. But yeah, it is what it is, I guess.
It's such a tightrope. You're so right.
Yeah.
In terms of balancing the drama with audience engagement, but you've got people.
Yeah, and this impacts you on a personal level because obviously people get to see only snippet. If you saw that much drama, this was over 8 hours. So you guys saw only 1 hour. So there were so many things that were happening, but then again, edits here and there. And then, to be fair, it only needed to be 1 hour because this is the duration of the episode. But yeah.
When you walked away from filming that day, were you as a crew, a cast, did you hang out after? Or were you all like done?
Yeah, we finished so late. I was telling you, 8 hours of shooting. So we finished so late and it was super exhausting. I was like, why are you going home?
So is that like tea after you're all friends?
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah. No, but I think I'm close friends with a lot of the cast members. So I enjoy most of their company. Because obviously going through this journey, it was so intense that really few people understand. And these people happen to be the people that went through the same experiment with you. And if I say an experiment, it was an actual psychological, social experiment. So it was kind of intense. So you really appreciate the people after this. You appreciate because you've lived that journey with them and no one else can understand except for them.
I agree. It looked like a phenomenal life experience to have.
Absolutely.
Well, sorry to get back to the reunion, but after the reunion, you got, along with other girls, attacked a lot for not having Noor's back and not defending her. A lot of people on TikTok were like, oh, they're not girls, and the list goes on and on. So do you think that you should have acted differently?
I don't think so, honestly. If I'm not part of the story, I shouldn't be involved. I mean, sometimes you get too sort of excited for someone or too pissed for someone. You want to defend your friend but then this as an act is not the right way because the story of the two should remain between the two and they were the ones they're supposed to be talking about it. So this is how I see it. Because at one point things got a little bit out of control. So you don't know how would you insert yourself into that conversation. So I don't think I had really a place for me to be able to jump in and speak. This was my view.
How do you feel? Because I think when a show airs, like anything that goes online, we post daily, you get feedback and comments from everyone. You're loved, there's criticism. How do you feel getting criticism, for example, about that after the show?
In the beginning, because I know the edits were not fair, I was really like anxious, annoyed. I don't know how people perceive me, etc. But then over time, this like 2-3 weeks later, I was like, okay, what are you annoyed from? You just know your story, you know who you are. It doesn't matter. And I came to realize that you are not there to like satisfy and make everyone happy because if you do, there's something wrong.
Right.
So I was like, khalas, it is what it is. If people tend to see me that way, that's okay. But then there were other people that were seeing the truth. And actually, I got so much support and love that I wasn't even like comprehending it. And people saw me for who I was. So I was like, okay, I don't need to like satisfy everyone and make everyone happy. But then these people that actually saw me, I'm more than happy that they were there and supporting. So yeah.
Interesting.
Well, before we jump to our game, I have a question. You are now dating someone.
Yes.
Right?
Dun, dun, dun.
So do your parents approve of him or not?
Of course. Of course, definitely.
So are we going to be hearing maybe wedding bells soon?
I'll let you. I'll keep that for now.
Okay.
But maybe not.
All right.
Stay tuned, I guess.
Stay tuned. All right.
But
Fair
before
enough.
we jump onto the game, I do want to ask because the show aired and it was a full year before. Yeah. So as the show was airing, I, along with a lot of other people, were jumping onto all of your profiles to see what's going on, and there was absolutely zero, nothing. You gave us nothing until the show aired, and so it's only now that we're learning that you're in a different relationship. So I guess when did that relationship start? Like, were you intentionally keeping it under wraps? You know, because usually you go official with someone.
Yeah. So we were obviously, because we were part of a show, we had to sign contracts, NDAs, etc. So one of these things was not to announce. Even the couples that were on the show, like Safa and Muhammad, no one was allowed to announce their relationship. So this was part of my contractual agreement. And then when we were given that good to go, this is when I announced, because and it is fair for me to do that because obviously I need to like Yeah,
of course.
Exactly. If you're with someone, you need to say you're with someone, and yeah. So it was not something that intentionally done from my side. It was more of a contractual agreement that I had to abide by, and yeah. And it's been a year after the show. And obviously we only started being together. I think last April, which is after the show by other 6 months or 7 months. Okay. So, and it was a journey after that. So, yeah.
We're going to play a quick game.
Yalla.
Before we get there, I just want to say Love is Blind Habibi was an amazing show. It brought a lot of different people, cast and energy, and your vivaciousness and your bubbliness was so amazing.
Thank you.
So congratulations on being a great cast member on such a watched viral hit show. So that's the niceness. Now let's move on to Chili Chats.
Yalla.
So, Chili Chats with Asma from Love is Blind Habibi. We're going to ask you some questions. If you don't want to answer, you'll try the Lovin / hot sauce crystal.
Oh, guys. You're not doing this. Okay, let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, first question. What do you think of Dunya defending Shafiq during their reunion?
I mean, she's his fiance, right?
Fair enough. Fair enough. I was expecting something more, but it's fine.
Easy. That was an easy one to answer, I guess, but it's so true. I feel like even regardless, you have their back, and then when you go behind closed doors, you're like,
why would you not do that?
Yeah. Okay, who was the most genuine couple?
They're all genuine. I feel like the couples that we know now, both of them are super genuine. Yeah. Yeah.
Easy.
Getting
It's so easy, guys.
okay, well, now getting back to your bestie, Mido. Do you think Mido's feelings towards Noor were genuine?
Ask him.
Oh my goodness!
Guys, you need to play this better.
You have to answer.
I don't know. Like, you have to ask him. This is something that he will have to talk about, right? Like,
I think that's a fake. That's not an answer.
Come on,
ask him. That's such a cop out.
No, come on.
It's a cop out.
No, I mean it's fair, right? He would be able to speak about this way better than I know. I wouldn't know. We're not like besties where we talk over the phone every single day.
You must have known during the show.
I would have. First off, I came in when he left, so we didn't even speak during the retreat.
You came in when he left.
Yeah, and Noor was about to leave, so she left the same day.
My producer is throwing you under the bus. She's saying you didn't answer the question.
So you have to
Okay, guys, fair. Fair.
That was brave.
Oh
I'm
my
sorry.
god, are you okay?
I'm okay.
Girl.
I'm okay. It's good.
Okay, easy.
Easy.
Okay, it gets progressively harder if you. We put more hot sauce on the
Yeah,
screen.
I'm not gonna do this again.
We have 3 more to go.
Yalla.
Was Noor there for fame?
I don't know.
So you need to eat again.
Come
You
on,
need to
guys.
either answer or eat. That's the game.
Come on, guys.
That is the.
Oh, yeah. And now you're being super generous with the chili.
Because it gets progressively harder.
You guys are gonna get me like massive stomach ache. You know that.
Oh, no.
Sorry. Sorry.
Okay. Fair.
She?
Fine.
Easy. Easy.
You're doing amazing. You're doing well.
Okay, if your parents were there at the wedding, would you have gone through with it?
Yes. Yeah, guys. Like, yeah. What? I mean, this was the only reason why I didn't go through with it.
Wow.
But yeah.
That's it's amazing because as you said, you didn't know you were going into a marriage show for anyone, and it's such a wild life step that I thought it was very fair that you guys decided to, you know, to wait until you had the family approval. But it's amazing to hear that you would have gone ahead with it if they were there, and how different life would be.
Completely different, I guess. Yeah, it's completely different. There are 2 different trajectories. This led to something, and then and now I'm into completely something else. But then I'm happy with my scenario at the moment.
Of course,
very happy with
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And finally,
Who isn't a girl's girl?
Guys, this girl thing is like.
Yeah, come on.
Come on.
Girl, come on.
I think we're all girls, but for what we think works, or not works, but I mean what we think aligns with us. If that makes sense.
That is like, oh, you're trying to like be very politically correct.
But it's true.
That is not an answer.
No, it is.
We need a name.
Come
we need
on.
A name.
We need a
we
name.
need a name. We need a name. Who is not a girl's girl?
We are literally, all of us are girls, but for what we think adds up to our values. I don't know. This is my answer.
I can't make her eat the chili. I can't in my heart of hearts.
Guys, are you killing me?
I can't. I can't do it to you.
Thank you.
But we'll agree that it wasn't an answer.
Ish.
Well, if
She knows.
says so.
She knows it's not an answer.
Yeah,
I
well.
can't. It's
Yeah, it's
chilling,
unfair.
you know,
It's unfair.
she has a bad stomach there, and it's our fault.
Yeah.
Should we? That's not an answer.
No.
That is not an answer. You need to answer. You need to give us a name.
Girls, now you're not being a girl's girl.
She's done. Asma, fair play for taking 2 sips of chili in Chili Chats. We appreciate
Fair.
it.
I think this is very fair. How many questions did you guys have?
6.
Yeah.
And you had very diplomatic answers.
Perfect. two sips.
Politically correct.
Asma, thank you so much for joining us
course.
on the
Thank
Lovin
you for
Dubai show
having
today.
me.
We really appreciate your time today.
Of course. Thank you.
Thank you, Farah.
Thank you, Casey.
And that brings us to the end of the show. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning, same time, same place. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.